All right, we're back. Bacon Hero, if you can hear this, man, it's funny because Zombie Girl and I were talking about this during the break, and she literally just said what you typed in chat, like word for word. Anyways, welcome back, and we're gonna be getting into the next series or the next game in this series in just a moment. Scarlett now coming out for Team BaseTradeTV. Moving this around there. Okay, so before we do go, I do want to, once again, I want to make sure all the coupons get used today. I know it's not the end of the stream, and we're not quite over just yet, but again, if you guys type in !match Reno in chat, do me a favor, log in to the top right, go click donate, type in DW2. This will create $1 for the prize pool. It comes out of Match Reno's pocket, not yours. It's their way of saying thank you for visiting and using the website. So currently we're up to $287 raised, which is absolutely fantastic. Big shout outs go to Zethouse and Lang 121900, and then Ukul as the top three organizer donators. I don't know how to phrase that better. Either way, we put in $100. The Leifeng House put in $100. Match Reno's giving us $100, and we want to make sure the prize pool is at least $300 before the stream's over today.
Ready?
Yes. All right, let me get the intro for Proxima. We'll see you guys here in a sec. You know, I don't know what it is, but while Brood War had a really good soundtrack overall, I just feel like nothing beats the Terran soundtrack specifically.
Oh yeah, I think most people agree with it. But Legacy of the Void did, for like a couple of weeks, really, it felt on par with it though. You know, like the Legacy of the Void soundtrack was really quite epic. Actually, I guess we're used to it by now, but by the time we heard the soundtrack for the first time, we're just like, what is that?
You're actually, so I'm gonna say you're wrong with that. In terms of like we're used to it, they actually stopped playing some of the music that would get queued up in HOTS and Legacy in the background of multiplayer, and I think it totally sucks because like right now we're listening to very somber music, and if you remember, it used to you'd load into like really epic start music.
Yeah, I feel like I still hear that watching it.
I
like
definitely don't
the
think
really
so.
like high tempo we
No, we definitely don't get all the songs that we had at the start of Legacy. Like, this is 100%.
Oh, what happened?
They just straight up stopped playing some in the queue, and I don't know why.
Oh, this wasn't like... Oh, okay. Well, all right.
Well, anyways, we're getting into game number 4. Excuse me, game number 5. In the bottom left, playing for the House Base Trade, it's going to be Scarlett.
And top right is the Red Protoss. It is Hurricane.
But going back to the topic of music, I know that there's actually complaints that got made during HOTS, not Legacy, but during HOTS, where people complained that there was too loud of too much music. And I was like, I kind of half agree with that, right? I prefer more energy music in the background than this sort of somber stuff like we're hearing now. But I don't know, Legacy came strong, and I don't know when, but it is something I noticed where you had, it feels like half the playlist removed. I could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure I'm not, because I pay attention to this stuff more than the average person.
Sure. I mean, you might be right. I have not been like noticing when we enter into games, but like I do recall, and this might have been months ago, right, at this point, but like saying like, oh yeah, I got that really epic intro, and it feels really nice when it pairs up with the actual intro of the casters, and we'll discuss like which one we have, because it can be different. I do remember that recently in terms of the last like 4 months, but obviously that's not really that recent. So I have no idea.
There's no way to really, I think, calculate a value to it, but I wish like the higher army value there was on the map, like would actually create different playlists for it, like in the background music, so that way when a big fight does come down, it actually has the epic music to match it, and not just like somber whatever this is. There's like a horn or a trumpet being played in the background slowly.
Yeah. But even like regardless of whether it's still played or not, which is really weird, they just like took it out accidentally or on purpose, either one. I do still think that we got kind of used to it, and though it was epic, nothing beats listening to the Terran themes. Like I would listen to that legitimately like on YouTube in various different, you know, instruments being used, right? Like piano version, guitar version,
Actually,
bunch of versions.
I can't play it on stream because I guess there's like copyright issues with it. But if you guys look this up on YouTube, StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm Vengeance trailer music is, in my opinion, like the best score composed for StarCraft 2. And I'm really sad that for whatever reason Blizzard doesn't even play that anymore. I think there may have been like composer issues or something. But anyways, Scarlett's going for a drop. Sorry, we've been talking about so much silly stuff. Kind of missing out on the double drop setup. This is pretty dedicated though. This is something that can, like we saw how close it came to working for Pet, and that was controlled frankly badly. I don't think Scarlett's going to control it in the same way. And with 2 drops coming in, it's going to be really hard to respond to this.
She's also doing it like a tiny little bit differently, right? Like she is getting a lot of lings, and she's still getting some lings, but also with like half and half drones on the reinforcement line. So ideally it does do damage, but it's in 2 places. It's not the elevator or escalator, whatever you want to call it. And of course it's already working, which is another big difference. I mean, the guesswork is here on Proxima that a pro is going to go for a Stargate. A question of whether they go Oracle first and Phoenix first might still be up in the air, but the point is, hopefully you can dodge out one of the Oracles in one base or another and still do a lot of damage. And it wasn't even Oracle this game, it was a Phoenix.
So she gets this round on the Adept. She might actually get both of these killed. This has definitely been worth it. There's no question about it, because while this went on, she was attacked, of course. Like, Hurricane actually came in with the Oracle and 2 Adepts, and she held. Hurricane, at some, like, it's whatever for holding, like, on her end, but the fact that he took so many losses back on his, too, means a failed attack and a failed defense. So both those combined now has him, like, double the resources lost to Scarlett. 16 probes in the hole, and no third base or anything like that on the way.
That Oracle back at home means that it stays in one base with the Adepts warped in another one, and it's probably not 16 probes lost, but it was such a surprise that it still would be some probes lost. But that is the difference of, you know, a slight lead and a really, really big lead, and now Scarlett up quite a few drones with a lot of freedom, I would say, to drone too. Like, it's a very small amount of Adepts that she's pretty consistently scouting, and, you know, she's gonna have enough lings for her, actually. 14, like 20 more on the way, and I think she's good, but the Adepts aren't even gonna attack.
By the way, shout out to the audience tuning in today. We just cranked that prize pool over $300, up to 301 now. So that's awesome. I know there's a few codes left still, so if you guys haven't used them, make sure to use DW2 on Matcherino. But Scarlett's follow-up to this is fantastic. Like, she did the damage, which is good. Knowing there'd be an attack on the way, having the appropriate amount of lings is one thing, but having things like banelings and +1, more lings on the way, like this attack at a Hurricane, I don't think is going to work.
It's not. I think this is enough defensively that she would be okay, but she's making even like 20 more lings, and that will definitely scare Hurricane. He doesn't exactly want to leave because he doesn't want her to get away with a bunch of drones. But as soon as he leaves, that's when she gets up to like 65 drones, and that's when it you know, again, doesn't look so good. He's fitting in that third base. He's back to almost like trying to get to a matching point on the workers, but now there's enough lings to maybe even threaten that third base. Yeah,
you know, the thing about that third that I think is going to be so rough is, like, not the banelings busting through the wall or going to the natural. Oh god, it kills all the Adepts almost. It's the fact that they're going to have +1. So surround on any of these buildings, and the pylon's going to die so quick. Same with the Nexus. She does bait out the overcharge. Really nicely done.
Yeah. Oh, she's going to go for it.
Oh,
right,
that's a lot of
banelings. More drones and a lot more lings. She has a lair on the way, so there is something behind this, but it might just work. The Oracle scouts this. I like the idea of the gateways.
Yeah, he needed to create some sort of wall, but Scarlett might not give. Yeah, she doesn't give a single F. Both gateways die, no cancels. But another gateway goes down. So much money in the hole. The pylon does get hit by some of the banelings. Not enough of the banelings, though.
That was kind of cool, just how perfectly that worked out. She had 3 banelings left over, and that ended up being enough to kill the morphing gateways.
Oh god.
Like, those things should have been able to soak up just a few more, and instead they died, or the force fields were used.
Like, what do you even do with this many banelings? You just kind of like A-move in, but the thing is, she got the lings on top of the sentries. Force fields are already forced out of this. I didn't even realize the queens were still walking across the map this whole time.
Alright, why not?
I don't know.
9 drones behind this. I mean, she knows he's getting super leads here.
Hurricane is in such a bad spot. The fact that he's going to lose his Nexus forces him to fight. Coming down the ramp's not an option, though, with so many banelings. If Scarlett had enough of these whittled away, maybe it'd be different, but with so many lings, they got that +1. You got the queens on top of the Nexus 2, and of course there's transfuses. Queens don't care. Taking damage, transfuse it. Taking damage, transfuse it. Not a problem. A drone is brought. BM hat
I don't know.
Misclick?
100. Behind this, I said Scarlett was getting drones, and she's up to 71. She could get a 4th base, but it was more looking towards that spire. She could have roach for him, but she's not going to use it.
This is interesting. She chose to actually just pull back the Balings. I don't know. Like, on one hand, she maybe could have connected those to the army and gotten kills. But by doing so, she sacrifices her queens to walk these Balings out of there alive. And I guess those paired up with the rest of the army is going to look nice. But I don't think they're going to have that opportunity to connect like they just did. Now there's going to be energy for force fields.
A few. Hurricane, a bit desperate here, is still expanding and getting a War Prism. So his attack could work in terms of, again, like limiting Scarlett's freedom. But she's already got a 71 drone. All she needs to do is kind of just... I think there's already a drone at the 4th base, so just fit that 4th base in. And she won't really mind if the Protoss army is right outside her doorstep, as long as they can never actually push in, which it can't, especially without a force or a War Prism.
Oh, tough call to make, letting the depths possibly transfer through.
The shade didn't last long enough. These sentries die, and Hurricane dies. They live, and maybe he holds on to his main base again. I don't know about his 3rd.
That's a hard maybe, though. The Warp Prism's going to carry some Zealots around to the backside. Maybe just go straight to our main, but he needs to get this 3rd up. I really like the choice of the Dark Shrine. I just don't know if it's too late. That's the problem.
Surprise, roly-poly. Barely missed out on the force field to the right side, so not enough force field to cover it all, and that just is a lot of splash damage. Not enough Lings to cover the Ravagers. While the Warp Prism can get into the main base, I think there's already units to respond, or there will be soon.
Oh, I love the DT warping on the ramp.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it created an actual wall the Lings couldn't bypass. They're going to actually clean up the rest of the Ravagers.
Oh,
Hurricane's warping it offensively, too.
Oh, God. Well, this could be sort of a comeback. He's going to lose the Nexus.
That being said, though, it's still Scarlett's whole army is going to die to these DTs, and that's rough.
And her Bailey Nest. I thought her Lings would be able to take care of this, but the charge lots here, well, not charge lots and not upgraded Zealots, just plain old Zealots, a little bit too strong. Now, she did have that Spire that she never really invested into, so now it's done, and now she's going to go ahead and make a couple just to make sure the War Prism doesn't happen again. This looks scary because what if it snowballed, but I don't think it can snowball, so...
No, but this for a brief moment there looked really good for Hurricane. But
yeah.
Scarlett not going to be upset by this. +2, melee is done. Massive events of Link's 4th base down. Of course, those mutas. She's just got too much control of the game to lose at this point. And while Hurricane's thinking Phoenix, and it's the right move for the mutas, it's the fact that the ground army, I think, is what's going to win this game, not the mutas.
Yeah, she shouldn't even have to... I would say she shouldn't even go into more mutas. That could be a way to end the game. Choices are hers here, but I think the easier way would just be to overwhelm the ground army.
I would like to note how boring the music has been this entire game, by the way.
Wow. Whatever, man.
The Lings... Yeah, I mean, like, even with an Archon... You could have, like, 3 Archons, and I feel like it still wouldn't be enough type thing. Hurricane, I think, did a lot of things right this game, but Scarlett just played this really, really well.
Yeah, I mean, basically aggressive from the very get-go. There is an Overseer this time. No DT tricks.
GG. Hurricane falls and leaves only seed remaining for Team Leifang. This, of course, gives the BaseTradeTV house a 4-1 lead and now puts House Leifang on match point. Could all be over. We'll find out. We're going to go to a small commercial break, though. We'll see you guys here in a couple of minutes. Thanks for watching.